Then we see the emergence of the idea of the church as a body. And this is a really important thing to understand. We are literally a family because we have one father, and we're all brothers and sisters. We've been adopted into a family. And so there is a literal sense to the fact that we are a family. And I've really wrestled with this question for a long time. Is it literally true that we're a body? Now, the reason why I think it's important to actually consider this is because of what happens in Acts 9. And I think it shocked Paul and he never got over it. So he's on the way to Damascus, and all of a sudden a blazing light. You guys remember the story. He's there heading to Damascus to imprison Christians. And he's got letters from the Sanhedrin in Jerusalem. He's a official governmental authority from Jerusalem. He's like an apostle. We're going to talk about what the word apostle means. It wasn't a spiritual word in the first century. It's a sent person. He's on an apostolic mission from the Sanhedrin to Damascus in order to imprison Christians. And on his way there, he sees a blinding light. His companions, they see the light, but they can't hear the voice. And all of a sudden, Paul hears this voice, Paul, why are you persecuting me? And what shocks Paul, I think, is the word me. He's like, who are you, Lord? I'm not persecuting you. I am Jesus, who you are persecuting. In other words, when you hurt these people, imprison these people, kill these people, you are doing that to me. Now, why is that important? When Jesus is saying, like, I am experiencing that, that is me you are hurting. I believe this is the foundation of where Paul gets his idea that the church is the body of Christ. And so in this sense, yeah, there's a literary way in which this is true, but there's also a literal way this is true. Like there's something being experienced by Jesus in heaven when the church is undergoing things. And this not only demonstrates a fascinating and critical connection between the church and Christ, and then you see this played out more and more and more as Paul talks about that Christ is the head and we are the body. But it also plays out in the nature of our relationships with each other. And so Paul then describes this in 1 Corinthians 12. He says, to each is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. For the body does not consist of one member, he says in verse 14, but of many. If the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, that would not make it any less a part of the body. In other words, you can't look at any particular part and say one part is less a part of the body than another part. No, you can't do that. And then in verse 21, he says, the eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Like it's sort of an insane idea that you could say that some part of the body is not a part of the body because it's not this part, it's that part, or some part of the body can say to another part, I don't need you, I don't need you. And then he kind of summarizes, he says, if one member suffers, all suffer together. If one member is honored, all rejoice together. So there's a sense in which, in the same way that Jesus is suffering when his church is suffering, we as his body suffer when another member of the body suffers. And so Paul is very interested in this very hyper interdependent life. Now, this is a huge problem for us, you guys, in our Western culture. Like, this is not a strong value. We do not love interdependence. We are, as sociologists have said, the most hyper individualistic culture that's ever existed on the face of the earth. We are so obsessed with individualism. And so the idea that I would voluntarily become interdependent with another person or with the whole community of people, this is crazy. We gain wealth in order to not have to depend on each other, to not to put up with each other's stuff. That's really the American dream. That's the Western ideal. As David Brooks says, when Americans become wealthy, they purchase loneliness. Like the whole point for us of acquiring financial independence is to become independent. It's all in that word, right? We declare our independence from each other. And so this is just a constant problem with our cultural values and the idea that Christ wants the body to be like a body, like an interdependent entity.